So video out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, showcasing just some of the flooding that we saw play out in this particular community, but across the metro and into some of the suburbs. That residential street covered in standing water, some of that water creeping into homes. But Tuesday did bring the city's second wettest day on record, with 6.42 inches of rain falling in total. Entire neighborhoods, as you can see, were consumed by that intense rain, that standing water, and officials also reporting multiple water rescues in the area.
This little car still has its lights on. I think somebody's in it. They're going to have to do some sort of water rescue because I think people are inside it.
So the woman reporting, but also looking on and just kind of narrating through what she's seeing. And that's what we did see, in fact, were water rescues. People stuck in the high water and having to try to escape from their vehicles that quickly became submerged. The National Weather Service did issue and has issued a flood watch for today. And in fact, we've already seen some flash flooding in portions of Tennessee this morning. The concern is for robust rainfall rates. You have a lot of moisture being pumped into the area. And when you consider the record that we broke yesterday, it beat out actually a record that was from Tropical Storm Lee back in 2011. So you don't need an organized system or even remnants of a tropical system to lead to flooding like this. So let's go ahead and talk about at least what we did see play out yesterday. It wasn't just Tennessee. In fact, we did have some flooding reported out of the Chicago area and out of southwest Michigan. Everybody's been able to utilize that moisture. Right. I should say these storms have been able to utilize the moisture. To go a little bit more into Chattanooga, that was interesting. You get these storm reports, right, these LSRs, cars that were abandoned, drivers crossing the interstate and being helped to higher ground. Yep. We've seen it a lot this summer. And yesterday, Chattanooga was that spot, unfortunately so, that saw intense rounds of heavy rain.
And I know that we have at Fox Weather been able to confirm, I need a little more context of how we've been able to confirm this, but 3 dead and 1 missing in Hamilton County. So Hamilton County is where Chattanooga sits. So the sad news that we're seeing out of eastern Tennessee. But when you have a rain like this and you're comparing it to a tropical storm of reference, you know, a named storm. It's one of the reasons why these systems get names, because then you remember what that was like back on the 5th of September in 2011. But 6.5 inches nearly.
It's a lot, yeah.
So much.
Topography plays a little bit of a role, right? Yeah. Chattanooga's not flat. Chicago, by the way, had 25 reports of flooding in through the metro area. Chicago's also been a metro area that's been hit with flash flooding quite a few times this summer season. Things are a little active. You're noticing we've had these heavier rain. This heavy rain kind of set up in areas closer into Tennessee. It's this area here that we're going to pay attention to, because at least out of the Knoxville area, they noted that they were able to pick up 0.3 of an inch of rain in 7 minutes, which is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. And so you get these 2 to 3 inch per hour rates, which seem tropical. And then maybe you get a couple of rounds of it. So that's why we're starting to notice some flood concerns already. And for some context, it was the Chattanooga Fire Department that it was from Tuesday. It was the heavy rain which saturated the soils. There was a tree that fell on a vehicle that had 3 people in there, 2 adults and a child, and they lost their lives. So I know that there were water rescues, but this does look like it was an incident where a tree fell in a car. So for some perspective there, the storms as they fall, those are the risks that are associated with it. We had some gusty winds too. You know, these storms in the summertime are able to tap into that mid-upper level flow, and some of those gusty winds can come down. Yeah, I think, you know, you're just more vulnerable to not even the stronger of the winds when things are just so saturated. And when you see the darker blues, it just means we have a lot of available moisture coming in and out of the south. So the flash flood alert remains, again, Knoxville with that flash flood warning, and we're seeing some scattered areas. So paying attention to where the rain will fall, especially when you talk about Chattanooga, is even more vulnerable because of what it went through yesterday. The level 2 flash flood guidance there that we have within that region, which is a spot we were watching, even talked about yesterday. And you have elevation, right? So as we've been mentioning, it's where we could be dealing with a rapid rise in rivers, especially if the rain becomes heavy again, and dealing with more concern. So around Chattanooga, be mindful of what's happening today, because we're not totally out of the woods yet, as this boundary is just not too eager to move. And when you're supported at the low levels with some pretty rich moisture, the only thing you need is a little weakness, maybe an outflow boundary, in this case, a weak cold front, and that front
at least associated instability in the north, too.
Yeah, I want to point out that today we could have severe weather in the northeast. It would be isolated, but the threat is there, especially later into the day, and already looking at a flood threat even for tomorrow for portions of the eastern seaboard and into the Mississippi Valley.